All right. We're good. You're live.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for another edition of Live from Cleveland at Home. Today, we are joined by Emma Shepard and Chris Corsi, the only two people in the new band Suitor from here in Cleveland, Ohio. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves, kind of tell us some of the instruments that you played on this new album that you have out called Communion.
Cool. You want to start, Emma?
Well, I'm Emma, and I was the vocalist and lyricist on this album. Chris played.
And then, I'm Chris. I did all the instrumentation and production work for the record. So drums, keyboard, whatever. I don't know.
All the other stuff.
Wears many hats.
Yeah.
I wore the singing hat.
It's a big hat, though. It's a big hat to wear.
It's a lot of different ones. It's like one of those, like a little Russian doll hat where they just keep popping.
Yeah.
Oh, Matryoshka. Yeah, it's multi-layered.
Tell us a little bit about your musical background, because you both are in another Cleveland band together called Smallwood House. And so obviously, I feel like Smallwood House has played a part in the formation of Suitor and kind of the influence of this new album. So tell us a little bit about your musical background, kind of what got you started playing music live and, up until this project.
We are still currently in Smallwood House. Because of the pandemic, it was horrible timing because we just released our first full-length album. We played a release show. We were so excited to for 2020 to be our year, and then everything shut down. We haven't really seen the full band too much, and Chris and I had been hanging out. We wrote the first track, Suitor, and didn't really expect to start a side project at all. It was just for fun. So this was completely unexpected. I do play music solo as well every now and then.
It's just we started banking songs, and we're just do we take this to the band, or do we is this something else? And it was it kind of feels like something else right now, because it's we're creating it in such a vacuum. And usually with Smallwood House, the way we work stuff out in that way is rehearsal and jamming it out or whatever. And this was a much more sitting in my home studio, just kind of putting things together like a puzzle sort of. And that's so we just approached it very different. It just felt like a different project.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That definitely kind of leads into what my next question was, which is, why did you decide to kind of put this out as a new project? But from what you're saying, it sounds like most of the material that is on this new album / EP. I guess it's an album. It's
right in between. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But it seems like most of this material was written within the last 9 months, within this last kind of quarantine time.
Yeah,
even the last 2 months. I think. Yeah.
we put out this a 2-song little I guess EP thing, just to I don't know, we're big on sort of prematurely putting out singles, because it gets us excited to I don't know, it makes it feel a little bit more real. So we I think we put something out at the end of August, and we were just writing all the material from that time basically until we released it October 9th, I think it was. So it was just more or less 7 songs in a little over a month or so.
That's a really interesting thing to say. It gets you excited to kind of get the rest of the album out. So like you said, this just came out October 9th. People can find it on Bandcamp. It's on Spotify now.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere people stream music, so it's available for everybody. What were some of the songs that you had put out first off of this album, and kind of why did you go with those songs as your singles?
We put out Suitor and Not Now because honestly, those were the only songs that we had written. And we were just kind of thinking like, oh, this will be a fun release, a couple songs that we just wrote really fast. And we really liked them. And then they got a pretty positive response. So we were like, should we be trying to write more material like this? And then the rest of the EP came together really fast. I also think we were kind of starving for a creative outlet because of quarantine. It was really nice having like someone to collaborate with again, because had been many months of me alone at home having creative block.
yeah. That was like, it was like a bunch of like pent up like energy or whatever. Because I was doing the same thing. Emma and I were both like in our own homes, like especially during like the shutdown, just chipping away at songs on our own. So it was like nice it just like came together, and we're just like, yeah, let's just keep putting stuff out. And then once we like released the 2 songs, and we put out Picture with a Hole Inside.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're like, all right, let's like wait to put out the rest of this
and kind of conceptualize it as we had just been releasing songs as we wrote them. And I think that third track, A Picture with a Hole Inside, that was when we started considering it in the context of a greater piece of work.
Yeah.
And it does, like, the end of track 2 is the beginning of track 3. So then we started thinking, oh, maybe these could be puzzle pieces in an actual EP. So then, we kind of waited to create a body of work before releasing anything else.
Do you find, what other like sonic differences do you feel like this album has as compared with maybe some of the other material that you had released as Smallwood House? I mean, one of the things that stands out to me, and we kind of just talked a little bit about this earlier between us, but a lot of the songs are a lot shorter. And I almost feel like they're like either kind of like little bursts of energy or like almost like little like demos or something. So when you were writing this, was there any thought process behind like, well, we really want to go with a little bit of a different sound? Or was it just what you had and what you're working with?
It was definitely conscious for both of us. And I think when we started Smallwood House, that was in 2014. And like, at the time I was mutually listening to a ton of like dreamier sounding bands like Cocteau Twins or Beach House, and kind of honing in a more ethereal, I guess, slightly psychedelic vibe. And when we were writing this material, we were both on kind of a post-punk kick, listening to really like nothing but the Chameleons and like Wire.
For yourself.
Like, well, I'm speaking for myself, yes. But I think that the main difference was like our sonic influences at the time had changed. Mm-hmm. So we were kind of tapping into like different the instrumentation's very different. I think Chris has also been doing a lot of work on like, what software have you been using?
Oh, it's just Logic, but yeah.
Using we kind of like graduated from GarageBand to Logic, and Chris became like very proficient with it in quarantine. Upgrade. And so that definitely influenced our sounds, just like what was available to us, what we were listening to.
I was like nerding out alone in my apartment, also just like trying to learn new techniques. And going back to like the shortness of the songs, that was definitely something we were conscious of, and that does like sort of go back to also like this rapid, like just wanting to like, I don't know, we stuck to a more like Smallwood House tended to like write like, we tend to write like linearly, whereas this we kind of like have more, there's like a chorus verse chorus kind of thing that goes on. And like, I think there's something about like when you're playing in a band, songs just get longer or something. Yeah. And when you're writing them on your own, you're kind of just like, yeah, that's the song. It's over.
And it's also Oh, sorry.
No. Oh, no. You're like, I got out what I needed to say. Like, we don't have to worry about these other 3 people that also.
Exactly.
It is a weirder experience because we're not like going to the basement and having a couple beers and like, let's jam. It's just like, oh, I sent you a file in Google Drive. Like I worked on this from home. So we're writing separately. The difference between 2 people and 4 people is a lot different. And yeah, just the environment, because it is not like music we've played live. It is a recording project. Whereas Smallwood House, we've written all of our songs by jamming live all together. So
well, I really want us to hear a little bit of this first song that's on the album, and it's the song that the album takes its name from. The new album is called Communion, and so we're going to listen to that song first. When we come back, Emma and Chris will tell us a little bit about this song. We're going to talk about some awesome press that you guys have gotten recently. And I, of course, have a million other questions. But we're going to listen to this new album tonight together. It's our first listening party here with Suitor. And is this the first listening party you guys have done?
Yeah. This is the first.
It's a listening party every night in my apartment alone when I'm mixing and stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll listen to it in a little bit of a different context, but you'll also be able to get kind of some of the first listens to this new music if you haven't heard them before. This is Suitor. Here's their song Communion on Live from Cleveland. All right, that was the first track off of the new album Communion by Suitor of the same title. Tell me a little bit about writing that song, guys. We're here with Emma and Chris from the band.
Well, you wrote the first part of the song.
Yeah. So it was basically it was just really, I don't think I use chorus a ton, and I was just like listening. I was listening to a lot of Chameleons at the time, and and Yeah, I don't know. I was just like in that sort of headspace, and so like I just like wrote that first riff, and yeah, I don't know. That one just came together super fast. Like some of the songs, I feel like I have more memories with like coming across, like stumbling onto certain things, but that one it just like went very fast. There was one thing I think I mentioned like in that Paste article. Like I was also I've been listening to like REM's Murmur a lot, and I really like the drums on there. And so that I think I was pulling from that a little bit with just like that extra percussion. I really like what they do on that record. So yeah, I think that came through a little bit.
There's actually I don't know, a follow-up question that I kind of wanted to ask you because of that. It might be a silly question, but you know, Emma, I know that you do take a lot of pride in writing lyrics to all of these songs, but I also find that you guys are kind of dually inspired by bands where you can't really know what a lot of the lyrics are saying. A case in point, REM's Murmur, and also I know you're a fan of Cocteau Twins and things like that. So tell me a little bit about like when you're writing, what are some of like the main goals that you have for the songs that you write? Because it might not always be about knowing what you're saying.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like there is a sense of security in me knowing that the lyrics are not going to be heard that intimately. So I feel like I can kind of like get as emo or vulnerable and real as I want. So I kind of like writing like the lyrics. I feel like with Smallwood House are more vague, and I feel like with Suitor I explored some like darker themes, and Communion in particular is a wordier song. Like the vocals don't really let up from beginning to end very much. But I ultimately do, I don't know, I favor that sort of sound where it is lower in the mix. I like, I guess to me, it doesn't like take away from the act of writing lyrics. If anything, it kind of like adds to it. It feels mysterious.
Yeah, right. I've always appreciated works like that for their ambiguity a little bit. You know, you can kind of put what like more of your mood or into the song more so than like maybe necessarily focusing on specific things. So it's very, very interesting to me when I don't know, bands choose to do that. Stylistic choice. I like it, right? The next song on the album is Spectator. Do you want to tell us like a little bit about that one before we dive into that and let our listeners hear this one for the first time?
Sure. I think this one to me is very different sonically than any other track on the album. I think we were just talking about that a little bit. You see it as like
I think it has like Smallwood House vibes, sort of. It's got it reminds me of like a culmination of a few different Smallwood House songs, and it is sonically a little different. I feel like it's got a little less of a certain aesthetic. I feel like it doesn't quite have that like 80s aesthetic or something that we were
lighthearted and perhaps modern.
Yeah, a little modern.
And I think the vocals are a little clearer in this one.
Yeah.
After we went on that whole like waxing, now we're gonna peel it back a little bit. But that's great, and then we can talk a little bit more too later about what most of the songs kind of on the album were written about. So it also lends very well into that next part of our interview, which we are going to get to after we hear the next song by Suitor. This is Spectator on Live from Cleveland.
Everything we ever knew
All right, that was Spectator. And we are here with Suitor. We're talking about their new album called Communion that is out now. You can stream it on Bandcamp, Spotify, wherever you stream your music at. We were talking a little bit earlier with Emma and Chris about quarantine and how, if quarantine hadn't happened, like if coronavirus hadn't occurred, do you think that you would have written all of these new songs for this project, or would you have been focused on playing shows for that Smallwood House release that you guys had just put out?
I definitely think we'd be all into playing shows.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I don't even know if we would have written like one song,
Yeah.
to be honest. Yeah.
You thought all your work was behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were ready to just start playing shows again. We were like coming back from our hiatus.
What a great time to make a comeback, January 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought like, oh, this is gonna be such a good year. We're gonna play so many shows, and yeah, I would have been focused on that if not for the pandemic. But then total societal collapse, and
You'll have that. To be
Yeah.
honest, you'll
I'm
happens.
definitely glad that you guys had been, working on this and gave us something to brighten things up in a sort of a sad time. In the same way, though, do you foresee when this is kind of all over with and we can have shows again? This is a question I've been asking a lot of groups that have formed specifically from quarantine time. Do you think this will have like a life afterwards? Like, will you play these songs out live ever? Or will this be something that has kind of stayed a recording project?
Oh, I really hope to play this stuff live one day. I think it'd be really fun.
I do as well. Yeah. We've been discussing this because there is a way to do it. I'm not sure what it would be right now, just because we're using a lot of. I mean, Chris is playing every instrument, and the vocals are very layered. So it would require us finding a band, I guess.
Yeah, we'd have to assemble a band. But yeah, I would really like to hear. It'd be cool to hear these songs live. Yeah, because there's been pretty much zero. There's no iteration. There's no demo or anything of like us actually playing a full band live. So it'd be fun to hear that.
That's true. Yeah, that it makes a lot of sense. We've talked a lot to people who are kind of figuring out how to take these like really produced songs and distill them down into even acoustic versions, because they never had acoustic versions to them. So that's been kind of interesting as well. Well, I'm happy to hear that, you've considered playing these live at some point in the future. And with that in mind, we're going to listen to the next song from the new album called A Picture with a Hole Inside. And did you say this was one of the singles that you had put out? Maybe one of the earlier songs you wrote?
Yeah, this was our third song that we released.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, we're going to listen to that now. And when we come back, I do want to talk to you a little bit about some of the press that you've been getting around the album. It's been really good. And we'll also talk about the rest of the stuff that's on here. So stay tuned with us on Live from Cleveland. We are listening to the new album of Communion by Suitor. good time to talk a little bit about the artwork for the album, since we just listened to a picture with a hole inside. My transitions are always A+.
Yeah, that was top tier.
But the artwork for the album is a little bit like a picture with a hole inside. Can you tell me a little bit about who did the artwork and kind of what it means to this album?
Yeah, that was mostly Emma who worked on that.
It's kind of an illustrative collage. We had been collaborating on like the visual, the graphics for the album and singles, and kind of just came up with this chaotic, sketchy motif that we had been using, I guess. And I was really particularly drawn to this image from like a vintage horror film that I had found, and just really that hand in the shadow, we wanted to like crop and hone in on that. I don't know why I was so drawn to it. I really liked the colors. I really liked the mood of the image, I guess. I found that when I was writing the lyrics for Communion, which is like a darker song lyrically and kind of explores more religious themes and themes about mortality and all that fun stuff. So to me, when I saw that image, I really wanted to use it for the cover in some way because it kind of communicated visually the same feeling of dread that I was trying to capture lyrically.
Yeah, for sure. I always love working with both of you because you're both just kind of designers. And so you do come up with like really great images to go along with all of the artwork that you guys normally do. Do you foresee ever putting out any Suitor merchandise? Not necessarily an album per se. We've talked a lot also over the last couple months on the show about like, is it, even worth it to release like a physical media right now because you're not selling it, at shows
Right.
like you might. But I know that you have had some good success, like selling tapes from Smallwood House on Bandcamp right now. So do you foresee doing any Suitor merch in the future if you haven't already?
We have been talking about cassettes and or a 10-inch for this. I don't know about merch beyond that.
Yeah, I've thought about the merch. It sounds kind of fun.
Drop, yeah.
Once again, though, it does that like if you don't, especially us like starting out, it's risky business,
Right.
because like it's like a lot of times when you're gonna sell merch, you're gonna sell it at a show, and if you don't already have like a following, it's could be a lot. There could be like a lot of shirts. Just
could be a hamper of shirts for a while, but we'll make our friends buy them. They'll feel like never mind.
A collector item for 20 of your closest friends.
The holidays are coming up. The Suitor
exactly.
T-shirt stocking stuff for our friends.
I respect that. Big businesses seem to have a horde of T-shirts by people to not sell them. So, but you guys have gotten some really good press around this album. Do you feel like because, this is like the one creative outlet right now that you guys might have, like, did you put any additional effort into like reaching out to press for this one, or how do you feel like some of this has come about? You were mentioned in Paste and a couple other really awesome music websites. So tell us your secret.
I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Us putting ourselves out there and also like people finding us when we were starting out, which was really nice. Smallwood House was featured in a Paste article about bands from Cleveland, and the person that wrote the article like follows us on social media and followed the Suitor project as well. So that worked out. And I know Post Trash did a track premiere, which is someone that I I was in communication with because I write music reviews for them from time to time. So Dan at Post Trash was willing to premiere that for us, and that got us a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
I think most of our clicks on Bandcamp right now are from Post Trash, which is
and Paste.
really nice,
yeah, both of them are like those were two big ones. Yeah, I think it was like we just like had the right people, the right time kind of thing, where it's just like the timing was just good, and we were putting everything together so quickly that it was just like it was pretty easy to just be like, yeah, we'll be done with this in like 2 weeks if you guys want to write something.
No, that's awesome. I feel like capitalizing on good timing is always like so important, and being able to have something, you know, for these different places, and also like having networked and done work for different publications. I find like you guys are really good at, you know, communicating and describing your sound and your influences, and I think that stuff like always helps as well, you know. Mm-hmm. So that original Paste article, that the 15 bands in Cleveland that you must hear right now, I do urge everybody to check that out if you haven't seen that one yet, because it did give a lot of great listening material for groups in Cleveland. And I don't know if we mentioned that yet on the show, but that was like a piece of substantial Cleveland music news.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
It was cool.
Very humbled to be included, and we were in great company.
Yeah, no, it was cool too, just because like I felt like it was a really nice eclectic list of bands, and they didn't stick to like one genre too much or anything, so it was cool for sure.
We're gonna listen to another song off of your new album, track number 4 on it. We're listening to all of these in order. Is To Water, and tell us a little bit about this track before we listen to it.
This is the track that Post Trash premiered, so it was our last single before we released the EP. This one's a little more funky.
It's got a bit of funkiness going on. Yeah,
pop sensibility.
Yeah,
it's a little sassier. Dare I say, like, I don't know if that word is too cringe or not. I can see you like.
Yeah, I think it is our poppiest track. No.
Yeah. Or sassy.
or pop sass. Hybrid.
They're so intertwined.
Yeah. You got to be sassy to be poppy to a degree.
All right. We're going to listen to the song To Water on Live from Cleveland. Stay tuned. We've got about 20 more minutes left in the program, and 3 more songs to listen to from Suitor here on Live from Cleveland.
I
here on Live from Cleveland, and we're actually getting into the next track is also the name of the band. So I don't know if this is a passe question or not, but what came first, the name of the song or the name of the band?
The name of the song. It was the first song we wrote, and kind of just liked the vibe of Suitor. After we wrote the song, we were like, should that also just be the band?
Right. Yeah. It was pretty. It was a pretty funny. I was just like, yeah, sure. I don't know.
We also didn't really. We just thought it was going to be kind of one song.
Sure.
So, Suitor by Suitor seemed fine.
Now that that is the band name, does it have any sort of added meaning to you, or is it something that you say a lot within this song?
Yeah, it is. It is like a thematic element of the song. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't even know if I would call it a defining song for our sound, because I feel like this EP album is still us establishing our sound, and it's a little bit all over the place. This is a different track from anything else on the album. It is a little punkier. It's a little more aggressive. Yeah.
If there was one song on the album that you think would be your big hit, which song do you kind of gravitate towards the most?
Ooh.
My favorite's the closing track. Not Now, which we will get to later, but
Oh man, for me it's I think as far as a more commercial success, I think A Picture with a Hole Inside to me is got kind of stands out. I just feel like it's got some more production than the rest of the record, and it's just it's a little danceable. You can I don't know, it could kind of be whatever you want it to be.
It is danceable.
Yeah.
There have been talks of a music video with dancing.
On TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Hey, anybody can do it.
In my comfort zone.
We're on TikTok.
You know what? I think if REM could dance for Shiny Happy People, we could definitely pull out some choreography for us.
That's so funny. I actually from Two Water, I had been doing that dance when I was mixing. Just the Michael Stipe.
It's a good one.
Whatever he's doing. Yeah. His
we should bring those back for a new TikTok generation.
Yeah. That's
almost like dabbing. Is that what? I don't know.
The Shiny Happy People, it'll be the new TikTok dance.
That's a good idea. We gotta trick these kids.
Do the Zoomers like REM?
I somehow doubt it, but
they ought to.
There's a small sect. I don't know.
Gonna bring it back. So without further ado, we'll listen to Suitor here on Live from Cleveland, and then just 2 more songs left. So stick around. We will be right back after this song. was one of those short and sweet ones that we were talking about
Oh yeah,
earlier.
the shortest and
A
sweetest.
minute and a half.
perhaps,
Yeah.
Well, when I used to do a more punk show on WRUW, I feel like all of the songs were 2 minutes long. The
Yeah.
whole episode was like 40 songs in an hour or something. And but
It's basically my show.
Yeah, like Isaac's show. It's very of a genre, right? And so
Yeah.
kind of going with that post-punkness, you got to stick to those shorter songs, sort of.
Yeah.
Were there any other like specific sounds that you found yourselves experimenting with for this album? I know, Chris, like you doing production or playing like some of like the synth work on this album. Was there anything that you were especially like proud of or found really cool?
Ooh, like, so yeah, just overall on the album, I would say I was proud of. There's some specifically Moth and Picture with a Hole Inside. There was some like crazy reverb like vocals that Emma did that I like definitely spent some time working on that I was pretty proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I was also just proud of yeah, I don't know, like I'm trying to think what else. There were just some weird things where it was just like not now there that sort of I guess breakdown-ish part, like trying to get the timing on that was really weird because a lot of it's kind of off the cuff and I was like, what am I doing? Like I don't know what this timing is and I'm trying to like figure it out with but then like listening back to it I was like, oh yeah, that sounds right, but it probably took a really long time for me to get it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting, all of the the kind of creative decisions that you have to make when you wrote the song, like you make the game plan, you choose what happens,
Mm-hmm. So. Definitely.
Emma, anything that you played around with a little bit on this one that you might not have tried before, with your vocals or anything like that?
More yelling. I don't explore the yelling range of vocals very often. And I'm really shy when I record yelling vocals, and this helped me get over that and just say like, you're gonna hear me yell and I'm trying something. And it was very fun to express, like, I don't know, to try punkier vocals for the previous track we just heard, as well as A Picture with a Hole Inside. The chorus part, I guess you would define as the chorus part, is just like spoken word yelling. So that was very different to me. That is new territory.
Yeah. Do you think that, did you guys record most of this together or kind of like record ideas separately and then send them to one another?
It was like maybe 50-50.
I'd say we were mostly here.
Yeah.
Most of the, I mean, there are a few songs that even the instrumentation you were writing when I was like hanging out, and as the song was being assembled instrumentally, I was also getting ideas vocally. There were a few songs where he sent me a Google Drive file, so it was something I kind of sat with for a day or two and then came here to record. But I feel like we were in the same room for most of the process.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
It probably is still, though, even like what we were talking about earlier, like a little bit more freeing to only have like this one other person to
Absolutely
kind of run things by or do things in front of. And so maybe that also helps kind of break out of that, like, get into that more like sassy.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely just having one person to run something by definitely like speeds the process.
Yeah.
But we miss John and Matt very dearly.
Of course, yes.
And I'm excited to write with them again. It's just it's two very different modes of writing, and this was very fast paced. But I also like with Smallwood House when we kind of like there are 4 heads on it and you're kind of like letting it marinate or simmer for a long time.
Yeah. Whereas like this one's just like super defined. The roles are defined and it's like it's a little freeing because it's just like I'm gonna stay in my lane, Emma's gonna stay in hers, and there's like been times where each of us have had small suggestions for each other, but it really mostly we just like stuck to what we were doing.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to make it to these last two songs. Again, they're not super long, so we'll have time to squeeze everything in. But we are going to listen to Moth from the band Suitor. We've been talking to them for this past hour here on Live from Cleveland. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in at home so far. That we've had some people watching. If you do want to ask any questions, you can leave them in the comments on our Facebook stream, and I can try to ask them before the end of the show tonight. So without further ado, let's listen to Moth, and we'll come back and see if people have any questions for us.
Cool.
All right, we are back with Suitor here on Live from Cleveland at Home. Guys, do you want to just tell people real quickly where they can find you on Instagram or on Bandcamp? Where are the best places to pick up this new album?
Yeah, we are. We need to make an Instagram. We have not made an Instagram, and that is something we will do. We are on Bandcamp, suitor.bandcamp.com, as well as Spotify. So we'll work into the rest of the matrix, I suppose.
So I've been hesitant to jump into the social media, adding another band to the social media world. It's like
yeah,
it's a whole thing.
It is. It's rough.
It's time.
And then you feel weird if you don't have like enough content for it. What are we really doing?
What do the people want?
Yeah, but you usually post news to your own pages, which is good, things like that. So maybe you don't need it. Maybe you can survive outside of the outside of the Matrix for a time, which is good. So this new album that we've been listening to is called Communion by Suitor. It just came out October 9th. Do you guys have anything else lined up for the release of this album? Any like videos or things that you've been thinking about doing? Besides that TikTok dance?
TikTok dance, yeah.
The Michael Stipe
we're gonna
TikTok
do
dance.
a Michael Stipe dance video.
Honestly, that might be it.
I do have a vision for a music video.
Yeah, we've talked
But-
music videos, so there might be something coming up in a little bit here.
Yeah. Aside from that, I don't know. I
Yeah.
know it's all very undefined. It's all very new.
Mhm.
So
For this last song, Not Now, can you tell us like a little bit about this one? I know it's come up a couple of times since we've talked as one that stands out to you a little bit. What was the process of writing this one like, or what is this one about for our listeners?
yeah, this yeah, as I said, was my favorite in the bunch, and this was the second track we wrote after we wrote Suitor. We just decided, oh, that was nice. We liked how that sounded. Let's see what it's like to write something else. And Chris was playing the guitar part, and I was kind of writing vocals to that before there was any other instrumentation. So it was like coming together simultaneously, the vocals and instrumentation. And it was very fast. It took just the night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like thought after we did this song that the band was actually going to end up being like a much heavier sort of band, just because like I don't know, like the sort of chorus part is got like a sort of heaviness to it, and I was like, for a second I was like, whoa, are we about to get like
About to rock.
are we about to rock or something here? But yeah, it obviously ended up going in some other different directions that I'm happy with. But yeah, it was a false flag sort of situation.
For this release,
Do
maybe
you
we'll
think-
get more aggro.
Yeah. Do you think that kind of like missing live music influenced you at all in writing this album? Whether consciously, subconsciously?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I'm feeling the angst,
Mhm.
and I feel like in this song in particular, the angst comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it very, very dearly. I miss seeing live shows. I miss playing live shows. I definitely think that has impacted us.
Yeah, I definitely like,
subconsciously.
yeah, this was definitely stemmed from like me, I don't know, got to a point where I was tired of playing guitar quiet in the apartment. And I was like, sorry, guys who live next to me and below me. But I gotta crank this thing.
Yeah.
I have to
Oh my
rock.
God.
I have to rock.
All right. Well, without further ado, I want to thank you both so much for joining us on
Thank
Live from
you.
Cleveland.
Thank
tonight.
you. Yeah.
We've been talking with Emma Shepard and Chris Corsi, the two masterminds behind the new band Suitor here in Cleveland. And we're going to listen to the last song on their new album, Communion. It's called Not Now. We will see you on the other side, and have a good night, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us
Thank
after
you.
this song. Thanks.
Thanks.